Alright, what's up, guys? Talk about over here with, some of the regular guests, but we got one more new guest over here. We got, Satoru's Ali coming over here, but we also have Talix and Untouchable back again.
Welcome, guys. Or I guess I should be the one that should feel the welcome. Glad to be back. Sorry I was out last week. Had surgery. It was kind of sudden. It was kind of crazy. I was actually, for the viewers who don't know already, I don't know if you guys explained this last week, maybe you did, but I was at a local tournament on a couple of weeks ago. I went to the local, did okay, and then after the local, I went to the hospital. Just to fast forward, I went to the hospital, and I had to get surgery, emergency surgery. I had appendicitis. That's a real thing, and they had to chuck that thing out. But the saddest thing about all that was, it was on the weekend of BT05 pre-release. And for those who don't know, I've been waiting for the BT05 set since 1.5 came out in America, right? I was so sick of playing this game where everyone always puts me to 1 memory, and by playing the Tamer, they put me to 3 memory. I wanted more, right? I kind of got greedy. I wanted a lot of memory. And so the Sora and Joe and the dual Tamer Ty and Matt, perfect. Like, now I start turns with like 5, 7 memory. It's amazing. And like, overall, it was kind of crappy that I was in the hospital while the pre-release was going down. And I know you fellas were going out partying, getting all those new Zwarts and defeats and antibodies. But that's a little bit intro of why I missed out last week's podcast.
Yeah, glad. Yeah, dude, I'm glad you're back over here. I'm glad that we're all glad that you recovered over here.
Yeah.
Man, you were memory starved, man.
I know, man. For too long. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Now we're playing the game.
Yeah, we're playing the game.
What I really hated is just every single time when I didn't have the Tamer, or my opponent didn't have a Tamer, it was like 1, 1, 1. Like, you play your 1-cost champion for 1, right? And then I start my turn with 1. I play a 2-cost rookie, put you to 1. Then you digivolve into a 2-cost, or you play a 2-cost rookie, put me back to 1. And it's like 1, 1, 1, 1, and the game's not doing anything. You guys are just building up an army, and I didn't like that. And if you're playing Rookie Rush, then it didn't matter because you're putting them to 1, but you're attacking with like 4 dudes in a turn. Oh gosh, it's not anymore. Sora and Joe really, really fixed the game for me, and so I'm not playing anything less than 4 in most of my blue decks.
Yeah,
except Ancient Garurumon, but I don't like being memory starved, man. I need memory. I want to learn. I need to expand my brain. I need a lot of memory. Sorry, I just want to be honest here.
Oh no! Which actually reminds me. So we kind of figured out like a name for our podcast. Actually, it's now we're called Security Check. I think it's actually very interesting. Our stories behind random other names that we have. It's kind of. The other names are kind of iffy. If you guys hear me, man.
I mean, Security Check. That's the name, right? That's the name of the podcast.
Yeah,
right?
The name
it's a great name. It's when you have no blockers, you have no more security, and your opponent is like Security Check. It's the most saltiest thing on the planet. You hate it, but that's why it's such a great podcast because there's gonna be a lot of salty stories on here. But we can save that for the future, or whenever, or right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I don't want to deviate from the topic. I already showed you.
But right now, we're actually going to go over some of our actually like notable tournaments and like tournament winnings or tournament like stories that we have. Actually, I think Talix actually might have something interesting.
Yeah,
Let's go, Mr. Shane.
Yeah, I have a very. Oh man, Juan, this is gonna make you really salty because I know Rob, Juan, I know you two saw the deck list, but Tony, this is perfect because I can tell you the story. Okay, so 3 weeks ago was our store championship. Okay, we were still in BT4 format. All right, and so a month prior to that, yeah, your favorite format. I'm sorry, I meant 1.5. But anyway, so here's what happened. I was playing Blue Imperial the whole time. I was like running that deck like up and down, checking bills. Oh my god, like I kept losing with it a lot. I mean, I do well with it, but I kept losing with it.
You kept losing with it. That's not a Shane That's not a Shane trait. You never lose. But,
I don't lose. Well, I'm sorry, man. I know you hold me up to those heroic standards, and I'll gladly accept those standards, Juan. I will. Don't you worry.
You set the bar too high, man.
Yeah,
But,
I will gladly be your hero. Don't worry. But anyways, I was playing Blue Imperial the whole time. Okay, and then Tony, the day before. Can you guess what I did the day before the store championship?
No,
Can you guess?
You ran Nastimon?
Oh, I played Rookie Rush.
Oh my god.
Yep, time to mute this story. We could just mute that guy.
Okay, I played Blue-Green Rookie Rush, okay?
You can just mute him now, Rob. You don't have to keep going with this story. You can just mute him.
Okay. Alright, anyways. I know Juan's starting to get really salty, but this is the best part. Okay, so, tournament day comes, Saturday. Well, my first matchup is against Red. I win easily. And then, second one was a yellow. I won. Now, while I was playing, I was thinking, hey, this deck can't beat green. I just realized that because of Nidhoggmon and all that stuff. Like, I might have a big problem with that. So I just gotta hope that I don't run into any green. So luckily for me, next person I played was a Dan Devi player. I 2-0'd them easily. They had to hard play Dan Devi. Oh, I just literally flooded the board. Yeah. Okay. Round 4 was against a yellow Wargrey, and let me tell you guys this situation right here. Oh, game 3. Okay, he's got 2 Pedomon, 1 Unimon, 1 Ulti Angie-Wumon, and I have 1 Chimeramon, 1 Vmon that was afflicted with -2 security check, and then I had around 4 rookies, 2 green rookies, and 2 Gabus, and they had 4 security left. Okay. Oh. Okay. So I was about to swing. I'm like, okay, I think I can just take out the security and not kill him. Swing with the Gabu. He blocks with the Uni. Okay. I'm like, oh crap! I think he lost. Because he could have used that blocker to block something, really important. And then, so the Gabu dies. I swing for 5. And then I swing for 5 again, and he goes to block with the Pedomon, and he looks at it, and he looks at the because the green 2-drop, the Rurumon has 5k, and his Pedo has 5k. He's like, and then he realizes, oh crap, I think I lost. So yeah, swung for game, used the XVmon over the Vmon, go for game. And then next I was playing against the next undefeated person, and it was also a Rookie Rush person.
Oh no.
So, game 1, Juan, you are gonna love this security. My security was so stacked. Oh my!
I don't like any part of this story, so I don't know at which point do I like this story. But go on.
Oh, I want you to be very salty. This is supposed to make you super salty. This is the best part. Okay, this is the best part right here. Okay, game 1.
Empty is the best part in this story, but okay.
Game 1. Okay, so he promotes Vmon. He's playing blue Rookie Rush with champion Gorillamon. So. So he promotes Vmon, swings. My first security, Davis, already busted. Okay, I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. Then, okay, he has Vmon, and then I swing, and then now he has a another Gabumon, and Digivolved over to a Gorillamon. And so I have a blue rookie on my side and a green. And then next security, can you imagine what the tech was, Juan? What was the
If it's positron laser, it's not a tech.
It was a positron laser.
Like everyone played that
card. Oh man, I was so happy. When that hit, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
I bounced his gorilla and his Gabu couldn't attack. And then guess what the 4th security was on my side?
Hammer Spark.
I'm a Spock.
It was another positron laser.
Oh god. Oh.
We're probably gonna lose half the subscribers we got, Rob. Sorry, we worked hard for this. We've got like 20-something people now, but we're probably gonna drop to 13 from this story. Wait, what was the 4th? How did this guy keep checking? He should have lost by now if he checked these 2 cards.
Because I was hitting his security as well. I mean, I was getting hit by Vipers. Aqua Vipers.
That's a tech.
Yeah, we
I mean,
were.
Rookie Rush, so it's not that crazy, but yeah, it's a tech, technically.
I mean, I was playing Chimeramon, so to pop those Angemon. So I mean, that was tech right there, Juan. I don't know
That
what
is,
you're talking about.
you were playing Chimera?
Yeah, of course, why not?
That is a tech. And it would have been nastier if you played Anubismon with it.
Yeah, that would be busted. But anyways, back to my story. Yeah, so I beat the Rookie Rush player because in game 2 because I drew the Lobomon first. That's what it came down to. So I got my top 8, got my Postmon, and then in the elimination rounds I lost to Green. I was happy.
Good.
How you
Me
lose
too.
to Green? You just swing out the security. They have nothing.
No, because they Nidhogg
Oh,
or
yeah,
they
the
Sarah's
Nidhogg, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Or
And
Green
they-
Kabuteri if they want to play OTK. Sorry.
Yeah,
Matt,
also
what were you
they run like multiple blockers. They run the ultimate and they run like the champion blockers.
Yeah, they run cherries and commentary. Yeah.
Yeah.
pop those
They have a
cherries
lot
on
more
board
They have
and
a lot more answers for that. It's like,
Yeah, they do.
yeah.
'Cause-
Okay.
Were you running Puppetmon in your deck, your Rookie Rush? I'm assuming you did.
It did, and every time I used them, I lost.
Oh wow. Because every
Yep.
time like I play against a Rookie Rush and like lose is because they play like back-to-back Puppetmons, which is like kind of busted.
See, I thought that too, but when I did it, every time I did back-to-back Puppetmons, I lost.
I think it was like kind of the BT4 format in general. If you gave your opponent just any amount of memory that's over like 3, then you kind of just lose so much tempo.
Yeah, Chaos Arm just swings over the Puppetmon.
I mean, Security Control, Mega Zoo, they were still being played in PT4.
Yeah, but
They
like,
were, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing is, like, I think that like Mega Zoo has more versatility towards than because that's what I was
Rookie
thinking,
Rush.
like, than Rookie Rush, yeah. Because then like you're only playing Puppetmon, you're probably not playing Chaos Walder Arm.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my story, how I got my Pulsemon. Recently, locals went 3-1 with Lord Nightmon, and then Store Championship, I played that Zord Defeat Mastamon, Lord Nightmon build, and I went 2-2. So, yeah, that's my story so
Okay.
far.
Yeah.
Congrats on
Yeah.
Pulsemon. Those are expensive right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Thanks to these guys.
incredible story, Xavier. I hope you give you a round of applause for.
Oh, I hear the salt in it. Oh my goodness.
Just happy for you, man. You got a Postmon. Like, why would I not be happy?
Oh,
It's the
Rookie
card
Rush.
that I hate the most in yellow. So, like, cool. I'm just overall cool stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not too sure at which point of that story do I go, oh my god, that was insane, But like, I mean, if you're having fun, the thing is that I care about is that you're having fun, and if you're having fun, then I'm having fun, and we're all happy, right? That's like how.
Well, see, here's the thing, Juan. When I made the deck, my mind said yes, play this deck, but my heart said don't play this deck.
Then what did you go with?
I played with I used my mind.
Yeah,
I
you see,
having fun?
you're
I'm
not
not
in
sure.
sync. You're not in sync. When I
Exactly,
play decks,
but
my
I
heart,
got
I'm-
top 8, man. I got top 8. I don't know what you're talking about. I got top 8.
as long as you're happy, man. Results matter to some people all the time, and you just gotta give that prayer emoji. I'm happy you made it to the top. I'm happy for
Yeah, I guess so. I just need a salty Juan emote, and I'll be happy.
you. Ironically, we have another Discord where I do have a salty face emote.
Oh, are you,
Exactly.
the O2? The O2, yeah.
No, two boys Discord. It's my face, and it's what's the keyword for it? Lag.
Lag,
It's lag.
yeah.
I get salty when the game's laggy, so you type in lag in that chat, I'll post my salty face. But anyway, let's talk less salt, more fun.
Yeah.
Alright, well, if
mean-
it's less salt, then you guys got to take over. Then go ahead. It's you guys' turn.
Tony, yeah, let's hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know you won like a store thing recently, right?
Yeah, on Saturday, past Saturday, I went to enter a tournament, and they allowed us to play BT05. So I was very fortunate, just because I already had all my pieces for my deck, and I played with Lilith Loop, and it's like
Ooh.
It is. I enjoyed it. I had fun at the tournament. I just wanted to try it out, and I told myself, like, after playing that tournament and going undefeated, 2-0 everybody, I kind of don't want to play it unless I'm playing like at a regionals with it,
Okay.
because it's like solitaire. You're just playing by yourself for like a good 20 minutes, 15 minutes during your turn. Once you get 10 cards, I don't know if people know
Mm-hmm.
Know about it? I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of it.
Yeah.
You get 10 cards, then that goes off.
Right.
So I mean, 2-0 results. Like it was first it was a no-show. Like it was crazy. Like the guy just entered the tournament and just took his pack. I guess he just wanted the tournament pack.
He saw your deck list. He's like, "Nope, I'm out. I'm not playing against that."
Yeah. And then like after that first one, I played yellow, and after I played, it was Lord Nightmon, obviously. The person knew what he was doing. He was like actual good player, and just like he built board, but then like once he gave me 10 like trash, like kept hitting my security fast enough and tried to kill me. I went off, and then I wiped his board, and then I passed turn, and like I had like 2 dwarfs. I had a defeat, and basically like I had 1 Lilithmon extra out, and then like when he passed my turn, I always just popped it with Lady Devimon's effect over Lilith. So it was a really good competitive match, and then the next one it was against my friend that played Ancient Garurumon, which is a really good deck. I think that's like up and coming deck. I think that like it has potential not to be like top tier, but it's up there. It's blue. Like they have the Nokias for more support, Hammer Sparks. They have the Sagittarius.
Sagittarius mode werewolf.
Yeah, Sagittarius mode.
Like he checked my security. If it wasn't for my security in my second match against him, because he tapped 2 for Ancient Garurumon right away, and he checked 2 defeats, and then at that point, like,
oof.
Yeah, back to back, and me and him looked at each other like, well, this is unfortunate. It's like this shouldn't happen, often. And I was playing 3 at the tournament in my deck, so I didn't expect to see it back to back, but I won against my friend, and then my last match was against my brother. And he was playing Lord Nightmon too, and he unfortunately bricked both games.
Who, by the way, is a very good player. Him and his brother are pretty strong players in the scene.
Yeah, my friend and my brother are really good at playing tournaments, and they're always topping all the time. My brother unfortunately bricked hard. He was using like
fortunately.
Because like it wasn't even a match, because every time that like he dropped the ultimate, I answered it right away with Chimeramon, and Chimeramon's so strong in this format.
Mm-hmm.
Chimeramon, I love me some Chimeramon. Drop for 7. I've been playing Chimeramon since BT1, and I just want to say that's one of my favorite ultimates in the game. Sorry, go on, Ant. I just didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's all good. I don't mind. It's not a big deal. And then he bricked both games, and I 2-0'd him, and then I won the tournament at that point. It was like just I was the only person that went undefeated. And then I just recently played yesterday, and I played with the same deck. Unfortunately, I played with the same deck. I had my deck list for my other deck I was gonna enter on Wednesday, but I looked in my backpack and I forgot the deck.
Ooh.
And the people there at the store was cool enough, because they always ask for a deck list, which is cool with me. I'm okay with doing it. I just told them, can I make another deck list and like play whatever I had, and which unfortunately the only thing I had in my backpack was Lilithmon. So I played yesterday Lilithmon, and I played against Purple, which this purple player, like he's new to the scene, like he just barely started playing. But I was helping him out and talking him through. He had like some spicy tech. He was playing Plutomon with Chaos Gallantmon.
Not bad. Plutomon's a very underrated card. Hell's Gate's a very good card in this format.
Yeah.
And I can explain that later why, but just to briefly sort of foreshadow it, when you're playing against yellow, or mainly yellow, right? The turn they bring out Crusadermon, you have to get rid of it immediately. If that thing survives, if it gets another attack, if it has like a War Grandmon or Angelmon under it, it just gains way too much advantage. And so Plutomon is like an efficient out using Hell's Gate to get rid of the Crusadermon the turn it comes out. Because if it gets a Nightmon out, and then Nightmon Digivolves and brings out, worst case scenario, another Crusadermon, and they both are swinging, you're probably not winning that game. So Plutomon with Hell's Gate is a really good card. But
Agreed.
Yeah, So like played that purple deck, and it was pretty cool, because he was playing Earthshaker. I think it kills a champion. Ultimate. He was just like, he was killing my board, and like we were both killing each other's board back and forth. but eventually I overwhelmed him because I never let him have like his like megas out that far or that much. But yeah, Hell's Gate is really good because he crossed over to his turn and he played Hell's Gate every single time he like evolved to Plutomon, which is a really good card.
And draw 2, so it's consistent.
Yeah, it really is, because then if you don't have it in your hand, then like if you draw into it, you can play it.
Yeah.
So like I picked him. We went down. I 2-0'd him, but like every single that match, like we both almost decked out each other. Like we were decking out. Just so much draw engine in purple. It was just insane. And then the second match was, what was it? I think it was Lord Nightmon again, and I 2-0'd Lord Nightmon. And then after the second match, I played against my brother. Fortunately, again, he was playing Lord Nightmon. And I think that's the only person that took me to the game 3, because I bricked one game and then he bricked the next 2 games, and then I took the game 3. And then the last match was against Red, which is like, I enjoyed seeing that being played. Red Omnimon or Red Greymon, like playing the Nokias and just like making them less cost. I played against the player and I 2-0'd him. It was fun playing. I enjoyed it. I went undefeated. I won the tournament. I just don't feel like playing Lilithmon, to be honest, at this point. Like, unless I'm playing like at a regionals or like something more important than the locals, where like people, I just want to have fun. That's my personal opinion.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, congrats on both of your 2 wins at locals. That's really good. As for me, I think, was it Monday we just had a locals starting with BT05. I played Juan's not gonna like this, but I played Yellow Green Rookie Rush.
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do to win, man.
I went 2-2. I went 2-2 actually.
Now the story sounds juicy, because I want to know why too.
So the
I don't want to hear stories where everyone go undefeated. Like there's no
yeah. So the first one I won in like 10 minutes. So I was standing around the shop for like 40 minutes. The second one I lost to. It was a really, really, really close game, and he top decked the Nidhogg to win the game. So win the game 3.
Good. This is where I came. I don't like to hear people go undefeated. Those stories put me to sleep. I want to hear people lose and be like, okay, well, cause that's where the salt comes from.
Yeah. So yeah, my first round. Okay, I remember my first round. It was Commandramon, Black Commandramon. So I won that 2-0 in like 10 minutes. Lost to Green Ras Control.
Or Flacemon?
Yeah, Flacemon Control. Third game was against I believe Red Deck. I can't remember because I won that game in 10 minutes as well. 2-0. And the fourth game I lost to...
Now, this is what I want to hear.
Yeah, the fourth game I lost to Lord Nightmon. I was...
boring.
Yeah.
I thought you lost to some spicy deck.
No, unfortunately not. It was just like, just not being able to... I actually drew into, I think, 3 Spiral Masquerades and then 2 rookies on my beginning hand. I was like, can't do anything about that.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, and then after that, I went to another locals on Tuesday to play, and went 3-1 with Red Omni. Oh, not Red Omni, but Red Shoutmon DX.
Oh, Shoutmon. Okay. All right. Yeah. This is a deck I like. Okay.
Yeah. So I played my first round. He was playing Diaboromon. My first game, I bricked like hard. I had 4 megas and then an ultimate in my hand. And it was like, it was a close game. I was like, okay. The next 2 games, he's like...
The salty banter.
Yeah, he's like, that was a good game.
That was a good game, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, you played your mega, and I got to play the game for the whole time. And I was like, okay. Then I beat him the next 2 games.
I'm just kidding. Good job.
Yeah, but after that, it was the mirror. I lost the mirror 2-1.
Oh, Shoutmon. Okay.
Yeah. The first one was really back and forth. The second
Did you
one
record that one?
Unfortunately, I did not because I was not on the top table still at that time.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I was on the third table and not on the first two tables. The first two games were super back and forth. We were trying to fight over our megas, just trying to Shoutmon, attack our Shoutmons against each other.
Yeah, like, I got a bigger Shoutmon. Like,
exactly.
Like, I have a bigger Shoutmon.
And then the
I have 2 secret Greymons under my stack.
Yeah. The third game we both bricked, so we were both just playing like ultimates and champions and stuff. And it just
Those are the games I like to watch.
And it just depended on our security at that point. Unfortunately, like whoever can live on their security attack, and unfortunately I lost that. So I mean that is what it is.
So let me. I don't know if Xavier knows this, but Tony and Rob know this. But the games that I find most boring, whenever I watch, are games where both people successfully just scale up to their megas, like back and forth, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because a game at that point just plays itself. Like, you don't really have to think. You just are going to go to your mega, your opponent's going to their mega, and then you guys shoot your megas out like, they're kaijus or like they're like Gundams, right? And then who has a bigger mega? Boom, my Omnimon didn't kill you. Whoop-de-doo, right? Those games are not entertaining for me at all to watch because they're just very, self... I guess, like, you really don't, like, they play themselves out. Mm-hmm. And so, I like games where people miss pieces or when they don't have the line all the time, or both players, right? If one player has the line, the other one does not have the line to scale up, then it's a pretty bad game. But it's cool when people start, like, hard casting stuff where they, they have certain champions, or, like, if they decide to keep someone in the back or they send it out, like, there's more thinking involved when you can't easily scale up.
Yeah.
And for me, those games are like the most rewarding to watch. But if a game just then turn the TV off. Let's watch something else.
To be honest, Shoutmon kind of does that itself. Because Shoutmon is just a kind of tower deck.
It's a tower. No, I don't mind the towering part. What I'm saying is when you get your mega by like turn 2, right?
Yeah.
I like when you plateau hardcast the Shoutmon. Reveal the top 5, you add the Blitz on the Omni, or you get the Omni Shoutmon, and then for your next turn, you could go ahead and warp Digivolve to Omni.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're searching for pieces. But when you're just naturally Digivolving and whoop, 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 alright, cool, I'm Omnimon. What are you going to do? I have X antibody. You got an hour now. Alright, cool, let's go to game 2. I don't want to watch games like that. Those games are not fun to watch.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
So, okay, so Juan, what you're telling me is if a game is going as exactly as planned for like a player, you don't like those kind of games?
Yep.
I can understand why too. Like you kind of want to see your opponent's thought processes on less optimal plays, but still making the most optimal plays with the least optimal kind of like plan, right? Like I can't get to my I can't go to my mega. So what's my actual next most optimal plan? And I can respect that. I like that.
That's exactly what it is. Go on.
I also think for this format, like that's not that much of a big deal because there's so many cards you could do now, or there's so many like cards out there, especially for BT5, that you don't have to scale up to ultimate to Omega. Like all you have to do is practically scale up for ultimate. Like certain decks could do that, and then just like feed off of that, and then go to Omega still at the second turn, but passes over. So like it doesn't really do much, or it doesn't make, or you go Omnimon and passes over. Because the thing is, like if you're saying that, like Imperial Dramon is like the best example. Is like no one could do that. What they did back then was like swing with the ultimate, then go into Imperial Dramon, then unsuspend. That's kind of ridiculous. And it's like for you saying that, I was like I enjoy it too when it's like when people have their stuff. So then the game is not boring enough for me as the opponent, because if I'm scaling up and they're not scaling up, then I'm doing what they're not doing. If they're doing what I'm doing, I have to think about what I have in my hand and strategic on to like send out my Digimon, or play more stuff like you said, more Shoutmon, more Agumon. Like there's more cards now that are more for the format where you don't have to always see the scale,
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's the thing, like, cool, if both people scale up, that's nice, but what Rob said was actually perfect, is when you have the scale, the most optimal play more than the bigger monster on board, and whatever your opponent sends out, you can just attack over it. But when you don't, you can't scale to the Mega. You start having you're forced to make decisions outside of what your deck is designed to do. Well, sometimes, right? Unless you're playing Rookie Rush. But do you sacrifice some rookies? Do you try to keep them on board? Like, are you playing against a Nidhogg or something that could pop your stuff? Like, you have to think a lot more. And you also have to factor in how much memory can I give my opponent before they clear my board, right? Can it be 2? Can it be 3? Because you don't always got to put your opponent at 1. You can put them at 2 or 3. You just got to give them enough memory -1 for whatever will counter your play. So specifically, like, for example, if I'm playing against a blue Imperial Digimon and they don't have Davis out, the most amount of memory I can give them if they already have Pyogemon on board is 2. Or actually, sometimes it's 1 because they could just Hammer Spark, right? You don't want them to attack with Pyogemon, Digimon to Imperial Digimon, and swing twice. So sometimes there's just more decisions that are involved when you don't have the perfect setup. And I think that's kind of like, or you drop Skull Merimon or Wado Monzayamon, like those cards I like a lot, because you're kind of saying to your opponent, hey, look, I'm going to skip the champion, I'm going to drop this dude right here, can you answer? If you don't, then I'm skipping my champion, I'm going to my Mega. Or sometimes you don't even have a Mega, you just start attacking with your champions, you champion rush, right? But that's a different topic, I think we could talk about that, next. No one really cares about, my opinions or thoughts. What they are interested, though, is whatever the next topic is.
Yeah. Oh, so actually, yeah. So after that story of beating you, Shoutmon, I believe I went 2-0 after all that. Yeah, but we can continue on with our next topic, actually, since
no, if you have anything to add on the Shoutmon thing.
I think again, the deck is actually pretty fun. Yeah, I find it very fun, but I'm also maybe thinking of playing the Red Greymon variant next, so just to try it out.
Not bad.
Yeah. Now, talking about kind of like decks and whatnot, we're actually going to be talking kind of like early meta stuff right now. What do you guys think of what we think about the early meta, and kind of like what cards you guys think is actually really good right now in this early meta to kind of counter what everybody else is doing. So, like for me personally, right now in Red Shoutmon, I'm actually playing Durandamon in my build to pierce over, because I have the Z Greymon under it. If you have the Z Greymon under it, and then you're able to put the when you Digivolve to Shoutmon and then put the piercing under it, you can just start swinging on all their stuff, and they can't scale up.
Incorrect. Or maybe.
I mean, they can scale up in the raising, but it forces them to kind of like. Like in my opinion, in my opinion, you're able to just start piercing stuff.
So I was talking to Anna about this. Sorry for my alarm. Z Greymon's effect says when you attack using Blitz, you can attack unsuspended Digimon. It doesn't mean if this Digimon has Blitz, you can attack unsuspended Digimon. So if you have a Shoutmon, DX or Double Cross, whatever you call it. If it has the Z Greymon under it already, like from a previous turn, and it's start of your turn, you have memory to work with, you can't just attack unsuspended Digimon, because Z Greymon's effect states you only could attack unsuspended Digimon if you're attacking using Blitz, and the Blitz mechanic states when memory crosses your opponent, you can still attack. So you can only keep attacking your opponent's unsuspended Digimon if you keep Digivolving, Shoutmons over Shoutmons over Shoutmons, and you keep using Blitz or Blitz Omni as well. You just keep using Blitz Omni.
I mean, that's the point, right? Right. Once you finish your first attack with Shoutmon, right? You go your next turn, go attack with Shoutmon again, and then go over Omnimon, unsuspend attack again.
Correct. So I just wanted to clarify. I thought you were just attacking nonstop with
you can't.
Shoutmon.
Yeah.
Because that would be cheating, and you probably would have gotten away with it. Because no one knows.
I read the cards enough to know that you can do that. The thing is just I think just being able to have something interesting or techy kind of like that is being able to pierce over with Blitz. It is interesting enough to force my opponent to lose a lot of damage on one turn and lose a Digimon as well if they keep it there. I'm also playing Rise Greymon in my build to minus 2k DP to just swing over Lord Nightmons as well. Because if you have a Tamer and minus 2k them, you swing over minus 2k on something, and then attack with Shoutmon to just finish it. Actually being able to swing over it, I think is actually smart. In my opinion.
I agree. I think Rise Greymon for red is pretty good.
But
Okay. You play any Marcus Damons
I was it was a toss up between Marcus and
or Ty?
Ty. And right now I tried Marcus on Tuesday. Thought it was okay, and then I'm gonna be trying out Ty right now as well, just to see how it
Okay.
works too.
It might be more appropriate for like an Omni Shotmon deck because there's not too many Greymons in there, and most of the time you're going to develop to Omnimon anyway, so you won't get value off on Ty. I mean, sorry, off of Marcus. Okay. Pretty cool. Went 3-1. Any pricing for top, whatever? Assuming you top 8.
It was only top 4. I just got 5th. I was right outside the yeah.
Pat on the back.
Okay. Yeah, it's just right outside it. But if you guys have like decks that you guys are playing right now in this early meta, and like any cards that you guys are like tacking in per se.
Yeah, I was considering playing. I already have the Shotmon deck built, and I am putting the Randomon in my deck. It's just too good not to play it, and Delicate Plan is like really good, especially now.
I love that card.
In every red deck.
Yeah, you just like security control. Like if it's gonna be a thing, like you never battle with defeat, so like you never worry about the DP for that. And then most of the time, like you're gonna be hitting like 14 to 15k depending on your line. And I play Ty. I would definitely prefer to play Ty just because I want that extra check. And if I could check for 5, like and then go into blitz and win game, like I don't mind. And then the red Omnimon Greymon deck is so fun. I played Juan a bunch of times, and I'm like in love with that deck right now. Even though I don't think it's the best red deck, I think Shotmon is the best red deck at this point, at this meta call.
That's fair. I mean, I think there is some merit to playing like red Greymon as well, considering you have access to War Greymon from BT1. Being able to attack instead of having to play, a Delicate Plan in your deck, you can actually just play that and start swinging with that red, War Greymon instead to kind of beat the security control decks. So I do believe that the red Greymon has its merits.
It does. I just think that Shotmon probably does what the red Omnimon does a little bit better because like Shotmon has like destruction effect when it evolves. Like whatever amount of like Z Greymon or the Shout isn't under it, and it pops things like it clears boards, and then you could initially attack into like their Digimon. So or you could attack over them too, like if they're unsuspended.
Which reminds me, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think like no, you're not wrong because I'm playing that BT1 War Greymon too in my red deck, and it's amazing, but it's not gonna get like 4 or 5 checks because most of the time, you're not going to be running Ties in that deck. You're going to be running probably Marcus. You're going to be running Nokia. Like, those are better optimal tamers compared to, like, a Tie.
That's fair. I mean, I can understand that. One thing I was actually going to note, too, the Rise Greymon is actually interesting, too, because if you already have it under and you tack over with a... you go... It's still your turn and you have already Shoutmon with a Rise Greymon on a tie. You're going to, attack... Digivolve again onto another red Shoutmon, and then able to minus 2k DP off like a 6k blocker, and then being able to destroy it because you minus 2k DP. It's actually interesting tech too. If you want to try that out.
You lower the DPS.
Yeah,
I don't have the Rise in my deck because I don't play enough tamers.
I mean, I'm running only 3, so I think it's perfectly fine enough. Alex, do you have any decks, meta calls that you're interested in? Any decks you're interested in playing right now in your type of decks with this early meta?
Well, going back a little bit, Tony, could you send me that little loop deck list that you've been using because I really want to try it out.
I have 2 different versions. Which one did you want to have? I think the second one I played this week was a lot more efficient than the last week's because I was playing 3 defeats and sometimes it's clunky,
Yeah.
Like it's good because like sometimes I even digivolve and kill a tamer and then like basically they don't get no memory and then like they don't get the Madden Tie or they don't get like TK or whatever tamers they're playing. It's really good, but then there was times I'm just like I'd rather run like more Swart because that's the key card for the deck. I was just trying. That's why I swapped it. I was originally playing 2 swords and 3 defeats, and then I switched it over to 3 swords and then 2 defeats because I didn't see it enough. But then like I don't know, like it all depends on your preference because like seeing the defeat in the security was really good, but then at the same time like I draw it in my hand. I'm like, oh, I'd rather have this be a sword. So like it was conflicting. So I'll send you the list. Just let me know which one you prefer.
Yeah, the second one would be perfect, and I'll just work my magic on it, see what I can do with it.
Okay. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah, and I'm asking because next week is our team tournament, and the rule is that players can only run like a combined total of the cards. So like if I ran 2 Hammer Spark, yeah, then the other my teammates can only run 2 Hammer Spark. So I'm just trying to like learn as many decks as I can.
Spicy.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, the format is like Team Wars and like Dragon Ball.
Yes, I played it.
Yeah. So yeah, Tony knows. Yeah, basically it's a best of 1 25-minute match with 3v3.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it'll go by really fast, but I mean, yeah, that caveat where there's like a card limit for the full team. So.
Yeah. That's super interesting.
So essentially, like if you're playing like all 3 of us were playing red, we would have to fight over Gaia Force to Transcendent Swords. But like I loved playing that team format for Dragon Ball. It was super fun and just exciting because I was talking to my team throughout the whole time before the tournament showed up. Like we were like planning what decks to run and what techs to, because it gives us more options instead of just running the meta cards. It just like gives us the full library where like if we're running a certain color and if like one of us doesn't want to run that color, it's like, oh, we want to run blue, but like since there's so many cards out there, you could run different kind of blue deck or a different kind of purple or red deck.
Me personally, I know Magic the Gathering used to actually do that a lot too back in the day. I don't think they do that anymore, but they used to have like team tournaments where, like you guys said, you're not able to use if one of your teammates is using a play set of cards, you can't use it, right? Or if you're using 2, you can only use 2, right? So you can't have like a full play set on like across everybody. You have to kind of share it.
Yeah. But but going back to what you were saying, Rob. Yeah, tomorrow if I don't get the deck list from Tony, I'll probably just play Lord Nightmon and tomorrow, and then I'm probably just Lord Nightmon for tomorrow for locals.
Yeah, any techs you're interested in? Maybe playing Mastodon, because I know that's a interesting tech that a lot of Lord Nightmods have been playing, especially if you have security control matchups that it's supposed to be coming up. But if not, maybe. Like anything else you're interested in playing?
Okay, so when I played the last Store Championship, I played Mastamon and the Zord Defeat build, and I thought it was really cool until I never realized how much you could brick with that deck. It was ridiculous how many times I bricked. So I'm just gonna play vanilla Lord Nightmon, but instead of Antilamon and Andrewomon, I'm just gonna use Sirenmon just to play outer bricks. Play like how Juan wants me to.
Yeah. No choking here.
No, I mean, if I need to raw play an ultimate, I'll just play Sirenmon.
Yeah, for sure. Juan, you got anything new? Any decks that you're playing? Any meta cards you're thinking as well?
So I have a lot of decks that I'm playing, and I think it really depends on the deck that I'm using, right? So I would say for every black deck that I'm using, I think it's imperative that you play double. And here's the thing, for anyone who's watching, the main difference between me and some of the other people, not just here in this chat, but just other people in general, is I don't like playing meta. I never like playing meta. For me, it's a very kind of like I find more enjoyment in trying to figure out how to break them.
Hold on. Let me see. Can you talk again?
Alright, so let me actually continue with this podcast. I'll be your host, Sakabato. Girls. So here's the thing, right? You're playing. I don't like playing meta. I don't like playing top tier decks. For me, it's it's not fun. It's not fun at all. And unless I really like the Digimon, right? If my favorite Digimon's a top tier deck, then I'll play the top tier deck. But normally I try to find something that will beat the top tier, and I kind of do so by like dissecting lists from like other colors that are not the meta. The meta for the last several sets have been yellow, and any sort of combination of green or blue for Rookie Rush. But going back to with the black deck, all the black decks that I'm using for now should run at least 2 Ultras, because Ultras is really good against yellow. Because essentially, whenever yellow brings out a bunch of dudes, you got to clear at least like 2 or 3 in a turn. And if you don't, then you're probably gonna lose. And any black deck that you build, whether it's Craniumon or Reboot Turbo or whatever you want to do, So Reboot is arguably better against yellow than the Craniumon black, because unless you play like a bunch of ties and Gogmamons and stuff to really make it beefy. But a lot of times, because it's a DP mechanic, you just reduce blockers to 0 and they die anyway. So Craniumon's still not invincible, even if it has high DP, because you could just always, slash Angemon or Nightmon or Balder Arm. Lots of things that get rid of it. So that's that. If I'm playing black, I think every deck has to play 2 Ultras, except for Commandramon. Commandramon's actually really fun, and it's really good because Commandramon swarms very efficiently. It swarms a little better than Lord Nightmon. The only difference is that it doesn't pop anything. It just kind of aggroes your security. So that's that. If you're playing black, you gotta play double Ultras. If you're playing blue, I'm really a big fan of Hexblaumon. I think it's a very strong card. It catches a lot of people off guard, especially if you play the Sora and Joe. Sometimes 4, 5, 6 memory is all you need to make a play. Hit it on. And so I think every blue deck should maybe consider playing 1, 2 Sora or Joes, because a lot of times yellow decks play a lot of naked Digimon without sources. So that's just free memory for you to get. If you're playing Hexblau, you could stun most of the deck, right? They can't attack with any of their naked Digimon. They're forced to delete it. But the cool thing about it is that I think BT1 Omnimon is really strong in this meta for any blue deck. I think you gotta play. You have to. So my rule of thumb for any color that you're playing is you're kind of building to beat Yellow Crusadermon and Security Control. And against Security Control, there's actually ways to play around it that I think a lot of people don't know how to do. But against Crusadermon, the name of the game is if they spill up to Crusadermon by like turn 2 or 3. The minute it hits the board, you kind of have to find the out to it immediately. Or, if not the out to it, priority is to get rid of it. If you can't get rid of it, then you got to get rid of the rest of the board and be able to attack over it the following turn. So, to that end, I think BT1 Omni is really good in blue, because you can just pop it immediately. And playing Sora and Joe's to strip, because a lot of things are naked anyway. You could trash sources, you could trash the Angelomon. And again, they can't attack over your Hexblau unless they have Digimon with sources. And that's not as easy as it sounds for the most part.
It's not. I fought against one. It's tough.
Yeah. It's
absolutely. It does something that Imperial doesn't. It actually controls the opponent's board. That's what makes it I feel like it have a 1-up over Imperial. It's my opinion.
Kind of. Yeah, that's it. It's a 1-up over Imperial for that reason. But Imperial Dramon is still kind of good because it sort of just doesn't care what you have on board. It's just gonna try to aggro your security and then blitz. And now that they have Blitz Omnimon, they can do that a lot easier. The only issue that they have now is if they can't turbo you early, like if you just drop way too many blockers for them to sort of attack with Vmon and Pyojamon, then once you get your board, then you're just going to clear them out, and it's sort of hard for them to come back. So part of the Imperial Jamon relies on your opponent just not having the perfect hand by the first 2 turns, and then you sort of attack all 5 securities plus 1 per game.
Yeah.
So yeah, Blue Imperial Dramon is kind of like the outlier here, where you don't need to run the Sora and Joes. You don't need to delete anything with Omnimon. You just worry about security. Don't worry about anything else, and they just kind of go from there.
Okay.
And for purple, there's just so many different cards you can play. Chaos Galamon's really good. Zwart Omnimon's really good. Hell's Gate's really good. Trump Sword's really good. There's just a lot of good stuff. I prefer Hell's Gate over Trump Sword in this format because a lot of times... Oh, and Devimon. Champion Devimon, the one that, 2 cost Digivolve with the Retaliation, that's really good. Because a lot of times you could just crash into the Crusadermon. Like, if they drop anything that's not a blocker for Crusadermon's effect, and it's suspended, your Devimon crashes it. Your Hell's Gate will kill it. That's why I don't like Trump Sword, because most of the time Crusadermon is suspended and it has high DP anyway. So it's hard to Trump Sword it, but Hell's Gate can always do it.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, if you're playing the white tamers, like if you're playing Takumi or the dual tamer Tide Mat, you can play Mega Digimon Evolve, bring out Zwart, attack over it, right? You can't use Zwart to pop it, but suspended, because Zwart's effect is to delete unsuspended Digimon that has a 12 cost or a 12 cost to play or less.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Crusadermon a lot of times is already suspended because it's attacking. So you just attack over it and then use Zwart to pop the blocker that will perhaps be able to protect it. And then you could, when you use Zwart defeat, not defeat. You use Zwart to bounce back your Mega. If it's Chaos Gallantmon, you just Digivolve one of your ultimates that you bring back with Zwart, and then pop another card. Bring back the Guillemon, bring back the Chimeramon. There's just so many things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Use Zwart, right? Attack over Crusadermon, delete one of their blockers, and then bounce back your Chaos Gallantmon. And use Zwart, you bring back 2 ultimates, or an ultimate and a Guillemon, right? Bring back a Guillemon and a Chimeramon, have Chimeramon pop something else, and then Digivolve into Chaos Gallantmon, and then pop that Zwart that's gonna go down to the bottom of your deck anyway. So use it to just, with Chaos Gallantmon to pop another card, and then use Chaos Gallamon's own effect to get back another rookie. So it's a very, very efficient board clear play for purple. But that's like, some of the things that I would suggest for those colors. If you're playing green, I think, whatever version of green you're playing, definitely consider playing 2 Nidhoggmons to clear board. And I think red and yellow, if you're playing yellow, you're kind of the things that people are trying to play against, and if you're playing red, you guys already kind of sort of covered that stuff. So, that being said, what do you guys think about security control?
Ooh, man.
Well, the thing is, personally for me, I think the deck is good. I'm not gonna lie, it's a really good deck. It's a very unorthodox deck that I don't think the creators have thought about it until I think the English kind of formats kind of started playing it. And the thing is, they can't not print good options, right? So, they cannot not print good option cards, but what I've seen in BT7 right now is they're printing stuff more like Delicate Plans for every other color to kind of stop preventing, so they can continue on making better, option cards without having to prevent every other deck losing to, security control.
Yeah, I think that security control is, probably up there with yellow. Most, like you said, I think red decks have a better chance of playing against it because like Sakabato said, they have Delicate Plan, and there's no way that they activate their security option cards is not gonna happen. But every other deck, I don't play blue, and I don't play green, and I don't play yellow. But I've seen a couple of I've been to already the BT5 tournaments. I've seen a yellow deck beat red yellow security control. They just went wide. They didn't really scale up, so they build enough wide, and they use their champions or rookies, and because security control still has to give you memory in order to answer. They have to put a Magnadramon to get 2 life, and sometimes that memory swings over, and they could just build wide and just hit their security, and they're only killing one thing, and they're not bouncing 2 things, or they're not killing 2 things. They're just slowly whittling you down, and that's what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. You kind of have, against security control, you have to not let them get 2-for-1s and force them for 1-for-1s, and it's a lot better for you for 1-for-1s instead of 2-for-1s against them, because once you're trying to build wide, you're more susceptible to 2-for-1s, and that's really good for them because other than that, they only can do 1-for-1s on their turn. And that's like once you kind of understand how to prevent them from getting 2-for-1s or getting like a lot of I guess a lot of value off of their security, and then you can just like beat them, I think.
Mr. Shane, any input?
Well, I haven't fought the deck enough yet, but first time I played against locals, I lost 2, and it was in grand final. And then I played against 1, and I messed up because of X antibody. So I think I'm gonna need a little bit more experience, but I do agree on building wide.
Yeah.
Just you gotta build wide correctly. That's the hard part.
Agreed.
That's the hard part, but that's the part that I sort of want to touch into. And I already had this discussion with several people, not just in this group, but some of the Discords that I'm in, where we sort of talk about this. But I think a lot of reasons why people think security control is really strong, because one, it is. They have really good security. But it's also because people don't know how to play against it, right? The first rule, 100%, that I actually see footage, and I've gone, I see people play and not realize this, is when you're playing against security control, right? And not Megazoo. Megazoo plays differently. They drop big dudes. Security control cannot delete anything on your side of the board on their first turn unless it's with the red card. And they're playing 4 Transcendence and 4 Terraforce, right?
Yeah.
Because the only card they can activate is the cards or the cards that they have color of on the field. They only have the red egg. So if you're playing your opponent, they hatch a red egg. They're playing security control. They're not playing Megazoo. So that's first. The first thing you could already go ahead and dismiss. At that point, unless they play the TK, they cannot use yellow cards from their hand to either delete yourself like 7 Heavens, or they can't replenish their security because they don't have a yellow card on board. So I've seen videos and footage of people playing where people are like activating like what's the black card? Ultimate
Flare.
Ultimate Flare. You can't play that unless you already have a tie on board, the black tie or whatever color you choose to play. That card. Yeah, the tower Izzy, right? Izzy. You can't play those unless you have it. So when you're playing against the deck, you already know that you don't have to worry about the yellows and the black security cards until they play the Tamers for them. The only time you're going to see those cards is if it's in their security. Okay? So that's rule number 1. Make sure that they have the legal requirement to activate their option cards. The second rule with them is you can always check 1 security and just end it at that. Very few yellow security control decks, for the time being, have cards that reduce their security numbers. Like, they're not playing Blinding Rain or whatever. And again, for them to do that, they need a yellow TK on board. But the only time they can really replenish, like with Magna Dramon or Magna Dramon, is when they have 3 security or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right.
Okay, yeah.
So the only other card that they can replenish with is Magna Angemon.
Oh.
So Magna Angemon doesn't care how many securities you have. You could just always hard cast it. And I was telling people that Magna Angemon is actually the scariest card of the deck for several reasons. 1, it gives security it gives recovery +1. 2, they now have a yellow card on board that now they can play the yellow options. 3, if it digivolves into Seraphimon and it gets another recovery, right? Now they have 7 in their stack. That's more things you have to deal with. And 4, if that Seraphimon attacks and if it hits a high roll, right? Like, just say the first 2 cards in your security are rookies and you can't block it, they effectively win the tempo, they win board control, they win a lot of things. And that's one of the few cards they play. The caveat here is that the security control doesn't have a draw engine. They just have to hope to get the pieces they want, or they have the options they want to answer certain threats. But they can't always have the answers they want to answer every single threat because they're only drawing 1 card at a time. And to be fair, the longer the game goes, the more it's in their favor because they'll always eventually have the option to out your whatever board you have, or they'll have the Tamer set up to play the different colors. But so definitely keep in mind that the Magna Angemon, when it hits the board, you sort of have to answer it right away. You got to kill it. If you can't kill it, right, you got to at least check 2 securities to put them back down to 4. And you really have to. I really can't stress enough how threatening that card is, because once they could use holy, they could use Eden's Javelin, they can use Seven Heavens, they could use a lot of things once that card's on board. It essentially allows them to use double the amount of cards that they normally couldn't use before. So that's two. The third one's probably the hardest part, and the third one is memory exchange. And this is something that, again, I already told Tony, talked to Tony about this. I talked to some of the other people on some of the other Discords about this, but memory exchange essentially, in lay terms, is how much memory did I play a card for, and how much memory did it cost you to get rid of it. It's a big thing, because if I play a champion that's a 5 cost, and you play Transcendent Sword, which is 7, that means the memory exchange is in 2 memory in my favor, which means I get to make an additional plays with the additional 2 memory you just gave me, right? That being said, it's very costly to drop a 8 cost ultimate, because if they use Transcendent Sword, not only do they get rid of one of your best cards in your deck, it costs, essentially, the memory is -1 in their favor. Mm-hmm. Does that sort of make sense so far? Mm-hmm. So overall, right, when you're hard casting, what you want to do early on is hard cast the champions. They cost 4 or that cost 5. If they cost 6, it kind of sucks, but because the only cards they can answer right away is Terraforce and Transcendent Sword until they play the corresponding tamers that they use to get rid of, to play the other colors. So, like, a 5 cost means, like, they have to use a Gaia Force or a Transcendent Sword to get rid of it early. That's a huge one for you, especially if you're playing like 11 or 12 champions. Build wide, as you guys already alluded to, building wide is good. But, build wide and obviously try to have different sort of levels so that you don't get hit with an Ultimate Flare. Again, until they play a black card on board, Ultimate Flare is not a threat. You can build wide with all your rookies. The only way they'll die is if you check in security. So keep that in mind.
Okay.
But sort of hard cast your champions early. Let them use their cards to get rid of your champion. Once you get rid of your champions with Transcendent Sword and Terraforce, and remember, they're not going to have 4 Transcendent Swords and 4 Terraforces in their hand all the time, right? Once you see 2 or 3 or a combination of 4 of them in the discard, you can start hard casting your ultimates, because then it's going to be hard for them to get rid of that. And if you have a Mega, if it has 12k, then unless they have Omnimon on board, then they can't delete your 12 costs. I mean, your 12 DP Mega. That's why Crusadermon sometimes has a chance against that deck. The worst thing that happens, though, in this matchup is when you check a defeat in, like, the first security check. Then you're kind of done. There's not much you can do there, because you got to delete the defeat, and he's going to check securities each turn. It's my biggest, like, that's the thing I hate the most about that matchup.
Like, if they're able to have the Madden tie out, too, now they're just going to security check +1.
+1? Yeah, good night. You're not going anywhere. Just go to game 2. So, keep that in mind, like, sometimes when you're playing against a deck, be prepared for a defeat to come out and be able to answer it efficiently once it does. Some decks could do it pretty well. Like Hexablow kind of doesn't care about it if it hits the board, because it can't attack anyway. But the fortunate thing about defeat is that it's a white color, so they're not using any white cards that are going to delete your stuff. So, but other decks, you can pop defeat pretty efficiently, or it depends on the deck you're playing. But just keep in mind that if you sometimes will just lose a game if your opponent's first security is defeat, and if you have no answer for it, then just kind of cry and hopefully it doesn't happen again in game 2. That's really I can say about that. But that's my little sort of brief introduction of security control, because I played against you guys all the time that play it. I see matches online, and like if you guys want to watch a 6 security control matchup with blue versus security control, and this is why I was telling Tony why blue actually does pretty good against security control. And while this card's not out in the States yet, it's still a very good card, but it's a good video to sort of see how the person plays against security control. And it's on DPP's channel.
Yeah.
It's All Force Hexablows versus security control.
Yeah.
And All Force Hexablows beats the deck because the dude is hard casting the correct cards at the right time. He's sacrificing his champions. He's not digivolving to tower up, because you lose that way. If you tower up, as you guys already alluded to, you'll lose, because you run into Terraforce, you run into Ultimate Flare, you run into a lot of things, Transcendent Swords. But watch DPP's channel, Hexablow All Force versus security control, and watch how he wins with that deck. It's insane. It's like I could literally do a restream of that match and sort of break down all the different scenarios where, like, God, this guy, 1 billion IQ, he belongs in Mensa, 100%, very smart guy. But that there's just watch a lot of videos. There's like a lot of ways to beat it, because some people are like, oh, security control is just too good. They always have broken security. Wrong. They don't always have broken security, and that's the thing. They have good security to answer different situations, right? And then as you play more, you can see how many cards have already been used from their hand or what you already checked in security, and from there be able to develop a statistical plan to determine what is going to be left in security, right? If your opponent has 3 Terror Forces in their trash, it's very unlikely that the 4th one's going to be in security. If it is, then you're just really unlucky, and you should just play Cranium on at that point. But if you do the correct deductive reasoning to determine, like, all right, well, he's not going to have like Terror Forces anymore, so the only card, that's going to probably be in security is going to be Ultimate Flare. So don't play a bunch of rookies, or if I play 1 stack or have 2 stacks so that they can't de-digivolve both stacks. But lots of different things to sort of take into consideration when you're playing against that matchup. But oftentimes it's overlooked early on because, people are like, oh, security control is so broken. They always have broken security. They don't always have broken security. They have different outs for different situations. And try to keep in mind what is their out to your board. That's the thing about security control. It's a lot of times they can't really put pressure. They're just hoping for you to deck out. They're hoping for you to just run into the correct security cards. But a lot of times they don't have the perfect security. And so that's why I think Crusadermon's better than security control, because Crusadermon, at least you have an objective, which is something that you determine based off of your deck. It's not like, oh, I hope my security saves me here, because that's a weakness of security control. It's hard to play, especially if you're like a newer player in the game, but once you play it enough, you're able to sort of develop a strategy to play against it, given the number of cards your opponent has, in their discard, and what colors they have on board, so what and so forth. But what you can do is check one security and then develop a strategy to check the rest of them. Again, they can't, and I'll say this, you could build wide against security to control now, because the Atomic Ray card that comes out in the Gallantmon red structure deck isn't out yet. Once that card comes out, you prayer emoji. You just gotta pray. When that card's out, then they can answer wide boards and tall stacks, and that's where it gets really nasty. But that's why I watch DPP's All Force Hexablau versus that matchup, because the guy is just amazing, crazy, sick match. But that's I think I spoke enough. I can tell my throat's a little sore at this point. So
yeah, well, I believe that should conclude what we're gonna go for. Thanks again for dropping by, guys. If you guys like the content that we have, hopefully you guys like, share, subscribe, everything like that for that. And if you have any suggestions for us for next time, please let us know down in the comments so we can continue working on this, guys. So. Hopefully we guys see you guys later. You guys have anything else to end on?
No, just I think we lost a lot of viewers talking about Rookie Rush and security control. It was like the two, maybe the 2 worst decks to talk about.
No, I mean, honestly, the cool thing about it is I think what we can do in the next episode, obviously if you guys are playing Rookie Rush or Crusadermon or whatever top deck, right? You guys could sort of perhaps talk about the weaknesses of the deck, because every deck has a weakness, even if it's a small one. There's always an Achilles heel to every deck. What is something? Next topic can be what is something that you guys playing the top tier meta hate to see when your opponent's playing, right? You know what the blue secret tech is? Siakumon, that little clam pearl Digimon. Amazing. It stops Ancient Garurumon, it stops Imperial Dramon, it stops Mega Digimon Evolved. There's just so many applications. I couldn't believe how good that card is.
I took the Cutemon in my
Yeah, Cutemon.
Yeah.
That's Mon. Yeah.
Yeah, it stops Imperial Dramon hard cold, right? They don't really have ways to out whatever you have on board. So you could say in theory it's sometimes better than Hammer Spark, because Hammer Spark can always extend the plays, right? They have it. But Imperial Dramon is always guaranteed. If you Digivolve for Dino B or Pyodramon, you're Digivolving for 3. And Siakumon or Cutemon or Galsmon, whatever that red one's called, they all say no. You're not doing that. You're gonna fight me fair and square. You're gonna Digivolve for 5 the way it says it on the card. You're gonna do that, and then you can attack afterwards. And those cards I think are pretty underrated.
Yeah,
Consider playing them if Imperial Jumon's big at your locals, or Ancient Garurumon, or any deck that's playing Gabumon or Greymons with the Nokias, because you can't use Nokias with, well, those cards are out too. Red could sort of out them with the red, they could just pop it, but they're not going to pop 4 of them.
I mean, they can actually technically. If you don't know the build, you need to out it out.
Yeah.
Because I have 5 cards that could do that efficiently.
All right. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you're prepared. I know you're prepared already for those cards. That's the thing. That's the magic.
I mean, once you started talking about it, I was like, all right, I know what to do now against it.
You gotta pop it. Those cards are like some very underrated cards. If you guys are watching this, splash a couple of them in your deck, depending on what your locals is like. But
all right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for dropping by.
Alrighty. See y'all later. GG.
Bye bye, viewers.
Alright. See everyone.